What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and this one will break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for moving forward. I'm also going to talk about Tesla stock and something very big that just came out, as we have some news involving China that has been important for investors. But before I break anything down about what's going on with Tesla and what pre-market levels you should be watching for on Tesla SPY and the QQQ, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And finally, don't forget about the Webull link. The offer ends very soon. If you deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. Anyways, now let's talk about the market. Let's talk about Tesla, what's going on. Tesla is looking relatively weak in the pre-market again compared to the whole market. If you look at Tesla, this thing's down about 0.2% as of right now. We also have this unfilled gap down here, just a couple of cents away from where we currently are. So it looks like Tesla may try to fill this gap in the pre-market and try to bounce a little bit. But please remember one trend on Tesla that has been holding for the entire week, and that is Tesla has a tendency of pumping, then dumping once the market opens. That's what tends to happen. It happened for the last 6 days. It may happen again this time around. There's a good chance Tesla might try to pop with the market once we open, trying to make its way up above like 270 or so, and then it may get a rejection, come right back down. But even if that does happen, my warning for everyone is that the market's going to likely be very boring, especially if you're holding options. It may not be the best for you if you're holding like 0 day to expiration options. Be very careful with those because the market's going to be very sideways, and that data decay could get the best of you. Now, with that said, I want to remind everyone that Bullard from the Fed is going to be speaking in just a couple of minutes. It's going to be at 6 o'clock a.m. if you're on the Pacific time, but for the East Coast, it's going to be at 9 o'clock a.m., 30 minutes before open for anyone around the world. Bullard is going to be giving a speech, and he's the most hawkish Fed speaker. So please be prepared for this. We'll see what he says. It could cause some more volatility. But then besides that, we also have at about 10 o'clock a.m. New York time, we have the economic optimism report. So that's going to be a little bit after the market opens, about 30 minutes after open. This data is going to be dropping. And remember, so far the data has been quite good for the markets because we haven't really seen anything too negative involving banks or anything like that for quite a while. It's been many months since that last happened, and for now we're just going to be very patient with this. I just want to add on that this could cause a little bit more volatility for the first 30 minutes to maybe like 1 hour. The market could try to hold up as we saw futures slightly green going into today. And with that said, I mean, the market is a little bit optimistic when it comes to CPI because lots of consumers are expecting CPI to cool off. So that is looking pretty decent. So we might see the market slightly green today, but I don't expect it to be too good of a day for trading. We might get a nice pop in the morning, cool off a little bit, trade sideways as the day goes on, then react to what happens after the power hour ends up starting, if you want to even call it that. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. When it comes to Tesla, some news came out. No, I reported the majority of the news articles already. Nothing massive came out this morning except for like two things. Basically, there's a lot of talk about how Tesla and China have a price war truce. That's a possibility, and Tesla is very open-minded to essentially helping out in this manner. They were kind of forced to do that as well for other reasons, but this would be pretty decent news for them. And there's also this news that came out, which is not so good so far. Tesla China insurance registrations listed at about 3,200 in July's first week. Now, that's very low if this is correct. We saw a big drop in sales potentially if that is the truth. And if you compare this to the last July from the previous year, we saw about 17,400 registrations the previous week, which ended on July 4th of 2023. So that was actually last week, not last year. Last week, they did over 17,000 in a week. Now this week, we only saw about 3,000. We'll see what happens moving forward. I mean, this does not guarantee anything for the next, couple of months, but there's a slight slowdown, so we'll see what Tesla does because of this. One thing worth mentioning is that the Chinese government is prioritizing its domestic EVs when it comes to like tax write-offs and any benefits like that. So that could be affecting Tesla. That's a possibility, and it could be other factors too. But for now, I'm not too worried about this. Like, I'm not like so concerned just yet until we get more data. But I just wanted to note this, that you should keep this in the back of your mind for future earnings. So far, things look like they're slowing down just a bit in China for the time being. But once again, this could always change. I just wanted to note that. Anyways, as far as Tesla goes, let's talk about some important levels. Now, Tesla has a tendency of popping, then dropping after the market opens, and then we're likely going to see lots of sideways action after that. So what levels should we be watching for going into today? If Tesla tries to pop a bit, you're going to be watching 270 as resistance. Get above that, then you're going to be watching 271.24 and then 271.55 as our 15 200 EMAs as resistance, then 272 after that. So there's quite a bit of resistance above it. You can see how this resistance slowed down during the pre-market. So you're going to be watching this chop area very carefully. And if it does manage to get above 272, the next really important level would be it getting very close to about 275. Now, that's going to be a bit of a stretch. I do believe it's a possibility, but we have to get above all these EMAs first. A breakup of 272, and this thing has the potential to try to get close to like 275 or so. If it breaks that, then there's like 278, but I don't really expect Tesla to pump that hard. Now, if Tesla just, pumps a little bit, then comes right back down, the most important supports are going to be 268 and 265 especially. If it breaks below 265, it's going to fill the gap all the way down to 262. So what do I think is going to happen? I would say Tesla may pop a little bit and start testing a lot of these EMAs, but there is a lot of chop around this like 272 zone. So maybe it tries to get close to 272 or so. Maybe it goes a little bit higher, who knows? But then it just rejects after that, and then we just see lots of sideways price action. I'm going to be looking for something like that, lots and lots of sideways price action. Tesla is red while the market is green as of right now in the pre-market, so it's looking a little bit weak, but we will see how this moves moving forward. I'm expecting lots of sideways price action, not a whole lot of volatility just to start us off. Then at the very end of the day, we might see a bigger move for Tesla. And we might just see more like sideways price action than either a big push, or we'll talk more about the end of the day later on. But don't forget about Bullard speaking and then the economic optimism report coming out. And then with that said, for Tesla, just be prepared for more volatility later on when CPI comes out. But until then, things may be kind of boring for today. A lot of traders are taking some time off, and there's going to be some repositioning as well. So looking at SPY, this thing's actually trying to push up just a little bit. We have this imbalance up here around this like 441.78 area. So you're gonna be watching that carefully. It may be trying to go all the way up there, so it could pump another dollar or so. We might get a pop in the morning, a nice push up, then a drop, and then lots of sideways price action after that. So we're gonna be watching this 441 to 442 resistance, 441.75 to 442 resistance, like right about here. It might test this, reject, come down, back down to like 440 support. Below that comes 439.64, which is where we have our 15 200 EMAs. Then below that, we have our 438 as support. So I think it's going to try to push up just a little bit. This looks a little bit more bullish on the chart. Try to push up and try to get close to about 442. Reject off that, and then trade sideways for the majority of the day, then make a bigger move near power hour, which could be, I'm not sure the direction. I mean, we just have to be careful. It could be interpreted in different ways, but I'm not really expecting too much volatility going into today. And last but not least, for the triple Q, this looks like it's trying to accumulate right over here. We have this nice accumulation pattern that is developing, good volume down here as well. And I think there's a good chance this thing may try to uptrend a little bit more. Let's see if this thing could get above 368. Tech is a little bit slower right now, so it may not be as nice as SPY. We might see this thing test 368. If it manages to break it, you're going to be watching. Could this thing get all the way up to 370? We'll have to wait and see on that. I mean, I'm going to be looking for a pop to at least 368 and a rejection, and lots of sideways price action after that. But I think it's not going to be the best of days for trading. Maybe a nice pop for the first hour, more volatility for the first hour, then a slowdown after. That's what I'm anticipating. Then a bigger move during power hour at the very last hour of the day, and we'll see what happens from then. But don't expect too much craziness today. Lots of choppy price action should be expected on a day like this. That's what typically happens. And then we will see what happens after CPI comes out tomorrow. That's going to be very impactful. All right. So thank you all so much for listening. Have an absolutely incredible rest of the day, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next video. Tesla to the moon as the long term is still incredibly bright, and peace out.